payment to AWC drug and alcohol testing for the annual membership.
In 2013, the city joined the Drug and Alcohol Testing Consortium to comply with federal law requiring that all CDL drivers who drive commercial vehicles need to be tested for drug and alcohol abuse. The consortium, and I'm just reading from the agenda bill, the consortium has provided a sample policy that meets the city's needs, and it's my understanding that we're in the process of implementing that. They have materials available for affected employees who may test positive or who may have an issue. They provide training for supervisors of CDL employees and access to substance abuse professional services if necessary, and they provide the city with advice and legal consultation regarding a positive test.
Questions from council? Council's pleasure.
Move to approve make a motion to approve the authorization of payment for the drug and alcohol testing consortium.
Okay, would you like to make your motion, Councilmember Jones?
I think it's something that we've all talked about over the years that we need to step forward on, and it's just to protect the city and the citizens and the employees.
Okay, Councilmember Green. Any other comments from council? Councilmember Halsey.
Yeah, this is going to be an annual thing if we just put it in the budget one.
Any other comments from council? Comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor of authorization for the payment for the consortium signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Robinson.
I gave you all a copy of the proposal from Robinson Noble. Back in 2009, 2010, we made some extensive improvements at the intersection of Steward and Valentine when we upgraded the signal and added some turn pockets in there. We discovered one of the fuel tanks was underneath the edge of the proposed payments from the old Melcher site. We had that tank removed. We knew there were two more on the site, but we did not have those removed at that time. We did receive a proposal from Robinson Noble at that time to do the same scope of work. It was between $40,000 and $45,000. Because the economy was down, we did not have a lot of money in the budget. We decided we would wait until we were closer to getting the Stewart and Valentine project further down the road. With the Valentine project, we laid out our dewatering plan, and was submitted to the Department of Ecology. Well, we met with the Department of Ecology this morning. They said, well, you better plan on pumping all of your water into the sewer system from dewatering unless you can more clearly define the limits of contamination. So that has required us to expedite this element of the project and get it done as quickly as possible so the Valentine project can move forward on the proposed schedule.
So,
Robinson Noble are experts in this area. They do a lot of hydrogeology and groundwater remediation and other related projects. The Department of Ecology is pleased with work they've done in the past. They've worked with the city in the past as well on well rehabilitation and some other projects. As I said, they worked with us in 2009, 2010 when we had to remove the previous tank.
So are you asking council to approve this estimated project cost of $44,483?
Yes.
And where does that come from the budget?
That is an element of the whole Valentine project. Because as we dig our utility trenches through there, we have to make sure that the water is clean.
Okay. Questions from council? Councilmember Steiger.
Okay, now the purchase of this property originally was done by P.C.S.
That is correct.
They're the ones that negotiated the whole thing.
That is correct.
Okay, at that time, I made it very clear that I wanted to be sure that we had clean bill of health, or that if anything came back, that we would not be the people that would be suffering the consequences. contamination or anything else that is found. We left out on the first tank. Now, on these second two tanks, if there's contamination found, is Pierce County on the hook on this? Or are we?
We're owners of the property now. When the property was purchased, it was given to the city.
But where was that original statement that I was told that we had, that we would not be liable for any contamination?
I'm not sure who made that statement. I don't believe it was myself.
It wasn't.
Because I raised the same issue. I said, we had, at the onset of that purchase of that property, the estimate was $250,000 to purchase it and $250,000 to clean up. That sounds like a wash. They should just take the project and assume all responsibility. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way.
Well, I would like some investigation to get done.
We will see if we can find more information in the files.
Because I know what I was told. And, at that time, our attorney was, Al. And he's the one that looked at it and said that we would be protected by those, agreement when we accepted the property from Pierce County.
That I don't know. One thing is, when the site is cleaned up, we have the potential to go back and recover about 50% of this money from the Department of Ecology.
Well, I'm still nervous about these tanks
I understand.
because,
The crew has probed, we know the approximate location where they are. They're relatively small tanks.
yeah, one of them was
And
a wastewater tank, and the other one was a premium pump tank.
and like, as I said, they're relatively small. It's our understanding they may have been partially decommissioned, in other words, filled with concrete at the time, because I believe this was the late 80s, early 90s, and at that time, when people had gas stations, they were told, okay, you better clean up these sites or decommission your tank, and then you can sort of step back from everything. And so I believe the owners of that property said, we'll just fill them up with concrete so we can step back.
One of these tanks was actually under the building.
Correct.
That was destroyed.
And when we removed the other tank, we removed the soil to the entire limit that we knew was contaminated at that time. It was tested throughout the process of removing that tank, because at that point, we had to take as much as we could.
I mean, that was a tank that actually sat out in the intersection.
Correct.
These other two tanks are back off the property.
Correct.
Okay, Councilmember Holsey.
Wouldn't that information from Pierce County be in the original purchase agreement?
I can go back and look.
Okay.
It may or may not have been there.
Second, issue, normally, when we approve contracts, they're accompanied by a resolution.
Yeah. I can assemble a resolution,
Please do.
but we would like to expedite this, and if we need to start moving forward here on.
Can you assign this with the resolution number, Amy?
It'll be resolution 14-133.
Okay. For the approval of 44483, $44,480.
In that light, I move to approve resolution 14-133.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Holsey, would you like to speak to your motion?
Since this is a time-sensitive issue, we need to get it done quickly. We can plug on the workshop, we have pretty tough expectations, we got some paperwork to go through. I think that it would be in the best interest of the city to go ahead and approve it.
Okay, Councilmember Jones.
Same issue, but I think of legalities, we need to write some kind of language, for the resolution. And I see Josh over there.
He's
scripting,
cracked and.
You know, so, as long as we have some language that we're gonna vote on, because right now now we have is a
amount, yeah.
projected,
The estimated cost.
yeah, statement of work and cost.
Any other comments while Josh is wordsmithing over here? Councilmember Kay.
Question, more than anything? So, this is associated with removing the tanks based on the fact that they aren't contaminating, so if they are contaminating the soil, there will be additional costs? Is that what I'm hearing?
It includes the removal, I think, of 2,000 tons of contaminated soil is included in this proposal.
Okay.
It has to be somewhat fluid. We can estimate, but we don't know exactly until we get into it, the limit of where the bad soil is.
Okay.
And so they've put a good faith estimate of what they think it is, and then they've also indicated in there what the cost is per additional ton of soil removal.
So when I'm reading the 5 test wells or boring sites, that's already been done to help determine this?
No, that's what they're, because in addition to removing the tanks and any contaminated soil, we now have to monitor the groundwater to find out if this plume is spreading outwards, inwards, is it heading towards the river, is it heading towards the freeway? These are other elements that have to be taken into consideration, and that's what the groundwater monitoring tubes will allow them to do. It's a continual monitoring of this, because we have to clean this up not only to the Department of Ecology standards, but also to the Pierce County Health Department.
So it's not to determine where the level of, or the extent of contamination is, it's to monitor it.
It's to clean up as much as we find and
Okay. And then
continue some monitoring.
soils that are taken then will be replaced with fill?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
That monitoring is similar like what, Boeing,
Exactly.
and Algona property
Yes.
evaluation.
Any other comments from council? Comments from the audience? Time by time here, how we doing, Josh?
Well, I can whereas the city of Pacific owns property with disused oil storage tanks, and whereas completion of the Steward and Valentine Road project requires remediation and documentation of these tanks and any associated contamination, and whereas the city engineer has obtained qualified proposal to provide these services, now therefore the city council of the city of Pacific approves and authorizes the mayor to sign the contract with Robinson Noble.
Council comments?
That was great.
No doubt. Any comments from the city attorney?
No, ma'am, perfect.
So, hearing no other comments, roll call.
Excuse me,
Yes,
do
sir.
we want to put in the amount of the contract in the price?
Oh, yeah.
I would put like 50,000 approximately, the receipt.
Say
I would round it up for an amount not to exceed 45,000.
that was,
We'll work with that. If they come back and say, you know, we need more, then we'll deal with it on an incremental basis. There's always an unknown.
any other comments from council regarding this? All right, seeing none, roll call council.
Councilmember Putnam.
Aye.
Councilmember Steiger.
Aye.
Councilmember Walker.
Aye.
Councilmember Halsey.
Aye.
Councilmember Jones.
Aye.
Councilmember Cave.
Aye.
And Councilmember Knudsen. Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes.
We would like to have you modify the agenda once again. We forgot about one element.
Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Okay.
We would
All in
like,
favor? Aye, okay, let's go.
we would like a motion to advertise the bid on April 4th for Steward Rd project. I don't believe we need a resolution for that because it's just a motion element. The resolution would come when we actually have to enter into contract.
Second.
All right, would you like to speak to your motion?
We're gonna get it down, we gotta kind of consider it.
Member Jones,
Long overdue, looking forward to
time
it.
to do the happy dance.
Can I make a point of order? Since Mr. Morgan doesn't have a microphone and it's really not necessarily clear how they're picked up, if we can state the motion for the record.
So the motion would be to take the Stewart Road project out to bid on April 4th. Any other comments from council? Comments from the audience? All those in favor of this motion of taking the Steward Road project as we did on April 4th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Yay, happy then. Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Any comments from council?
Review the bill, the payment payables and, find them in form.
Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, seeing no further business, we are adjourned.
Technology, can you next meeting?